Good morning. It's July 28th, and I'm still on a kick of sinew backing. I want to keep on going until I get it to where I feel comfortable working on it. And I went through my staves, and I have a couple of staves saved that had certain knots in the way, and I know I can make bows out of them, but I chose one, had a little tear out here, and I put it in the riser section, and made a 58-inch, another 58-inch bow, and I'm going to take down the back nicely. And I want one with a grip and a shelf so I can hunt with it. And, I don't know why people question you. Why are you making a bow with sinew that's 58 inches? Why don't you go shorter? All right, first of all, you make what makes you happy, okay? And shouldn't question other people's choices in bows. But the reason is, I will tell you, is that I want to use it for hunting. I want to be accurate. Even if it's a little heavier weight, I could use it for 3D too. And I like bows with a shelf and a nice grip to it, okay? I want to be comfortable. I want to pull all the way back to my short 26.5-inch draw length. And I want to be stable, and I want to make good, solid shots. I'm not making any reproduction models, or any like Indian artifact bow copies. You know what I mean? I want a workable bow that suits me, and this is gonna suit me. I'm just experimenting. Okay, I'm gonna take a minute because I have been doing extensive research and all, checking things out, learning. Right? We all learn. Like I said, I'm old. I started this later in life. There's a lot of things I wish I started earlier in life, like 3D. I didn't know about 3D till, my son's 26 now. Until he was 12 years old, I found out about 3D. I took him to a 3D course, and I fell in love with it. And many, many years ago, like like 30 something years ago, me and a friend made a back bow and a kit. We got this back bow kit and made beautiful bows. Eventually, mine developed a crack. He still has his today. So I said, all right, I put so much time and energy in this. I'm done. I'm not going to bother making these bows anymore. And that was a back bow. I don't even remember what kind of wood it was. So I'm only doing this for a year and a half. It's going to be 2 years in December. And my friend Cliff, who I shoot with at one of the clubs, he says, Joe, he says, you're so into archery, you teach everybody. He says, I know you're the one who's going to finish this project. I got an Osage stave. I got a draw knife. I'm going to give you some instructions. And I made my first bow. And I was addicted. It became addicted. And since then, I looked at the progression of the bows I made. And in that short time, I'm pretty proud of myself. I make some incredible, hard-hitting bows. And along the way, I learned from different people, like Keith Shannon and his fire hardening DVD. That allowed me not to get ripped off by bad sellers, all right? Bad sellers that, steal your money or send you junk, or they think they got a gold mine in the back when they send you some Osage. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of really good sellers out there that have been around for a while that are trustworthy, but I would say do your research. So now, just because I haven't done it, I started my experimentation with the sinew, as you know. You heard my rant and different things going on. And a little update on that bow that I used hide glue on and I wrapped. I unwrapped it after 3-4 days because the thing was I wanted to see how much shrunk. So if I had to add sinew, I could, and then I can let it dry and rewrap it. I didn't want to wait 2 months to find out unwrapping it, I have to add sinew. So I unwrapped it and it stuck. Even the bandage, like when you get blood work, they wrap it around, the stretchy bandage. I thought I left it long enough, but it stuck. It wasn't that bad, but it was bad enough that I actually came out on the belt sander and very carefully took it down, took down And then I use tweezers to pull out the pieces in between too. And so anyway, I cleaned it up and it's inside and I got it really nice. And what I did was I ran it under hot water. Not hot water, I'm sorry. I ran it under just lukewarm water, okay? I ran it under and I wiped it with the back, the scruffy part of a sponge. I wiped it down and I was surprised to find out, because I knew that sinew, when it hide glue, when it got wet, would activate. So it sure did. It started getting a little tacky. I was able to pick out little pieces. I got it sit on the counter. I got some more hide glue. I soaked some more elk backstrap sinew until it was soft and put it in the hide glue, let it soak a little longer. And it did. It shrunk up a little. I put pieces down where it needed to be and it looked good. And I dipped my finger in hide glue, put it around, and I said, okay, it looks really good. This time I'm going to let it set up a little longer so the wrap does not stick to the bow that much. You may get a little bit, but you can sand it off. So I let it, touched it. I said, okay, if it sticks, it's going to be minute now. It's been sitting for, I don't know, overnight I let it sit, let's say, okay? And then I wrapped it up just to make sure when it dried it adhered to the stave, to the wooden stave, okay? So that's wrapped up, waiting for a couple of months. So in that time, I started doing some more research, okay? Like I said, I learned a lot from Keith Shannon about fire hardening, and I suggest you buy his fire hardening video. And I want to give a shout out to John J. Riggs Archery on YouTube. This guy is a real nice guy. He's a regular guy. And he has a small bow business. Makes paddle bows. He makes some reproduction bows. Really, he's an intelligent guy, super knowledgeable on sinew backing. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed watching his videos and listening to him talk about various things about bows and other things, other things in life. But he recommended the other day this book, Bows and Arrows of Native Americans by Jim Ham. And I got to tell you what, when somebody of that caliber recommends something, I research it. I went on Amazon. What a great book. He said it enlightened him when he read it. And I tell you what, me, from not knowing anything, it really enlightened me, So I want to continue. Just make a few more, then I'll be done, with the sinew backing, but I have to get it out of my system, and it's not out of my system yet. So I have some elk backstrap sinew. I ordered another 2, just so I could have plenty extra, And I want to show you, I went through my whole staves. I went through my staves, and I found, I saved a couple of staves that I know I can make bows out of. But they had little knots and different things that were in the way, and I figured I'm going to pick one up that isn't the greatest, but you definitely can make a bow out of. And I'm going to put whatever bad things are in the riser. I'm going to make a smaller riser, and I'm going to make a 58-inch bow, take it down the back. So you see this little lift here, it's in the riser. I'm going to take it down smooth, and I'm going to back this bow. And what I'm going to do a little differently this time is I'm going to take the sinew, I'm going to soak it in that hide glue until it's nice and soft, and I'm going to lay down flat layers, lay it down, try to make a little, I did almost individually or a couple at a time. I'm going to try making a bundle out of that, even though the back strap is a little thicker. I think the leg sinew, though it's smaller and you got to do a little more work, there's a lot more pieces. It does seem to be fluffier. All right, that's the only word I could use, fluffier. But I'm going to lay down the back strap sinew here in a couple of layers when I get it done. And I'm just gonna take sinew and a couple, like a strip of sinew, and wrap it up around here, maybe wrap it here and wrap it here. Okay, just to keep it from lifting. Okay, and when it is, and I'm not gonna wrap it with a wrap, I'm just gonna use the sinew wrap. You know, the Indians never had, they wrapped it sometimes, from what I understand, from what I learned, I think John mentioned, birch bark to squeeze out glue. So I'm going to try just some sinew strips, right? Experiment. I'm going to experiment. I know people don't like that, but that's how I learn. Wrap some sinew strips around, okay, and let it dry. But what I'm doing today is I'm going to get this floor tillered, get it bending, get it the thickness as nice as I can, evenly on each side. Get the fade outs the same distance on each four corners. And then I'm going to put it on a fire hardening jig with back set. And I'm going to fire harden this bow. And then we're going to lay the sinew on in a day or two after that. Okay. So that's my plans. I just wanted to show you this, give you an update on that wrapped sinew back bow with hide glue that I'm doing. Unwrapped it a couple days after, like 3 days after, to check to see if it shrunk, if it needed, and it stuck like crazy. And I wound up, sanding it all off. And the most amazing thing, though, was running under the lukewarm water and using a scruffy on a brand new sponge just to, clean it up, get some, and use tweezers to pick out those little pieces of wrap. And I was amazed to see how it, I guess you would say, rehydrates the glue, and the glue becomes active again. So the plan is, I think, after I get them dried and sanded and tillered, and I shoot them a little bit, I'm going to try, since I'll have two, I'm going to try the polyurethane coating it. I don't want to put a snakeskin, or I don't want to put rawhide heavyweight on there. I'm just going to try polyurethane it. Let it dry a few days, shoot it, see how it is, and just want to give you an update on my plans. And once again, as always, a shout out to Keith Shannon Outdoors. He opened another world for me. I have to give a shout out to John J. Riggs Archery, man. The guy he's something else. He's like a book of knowledge. Him and the beaver of wisdom that sits there and watches him talk sometimes, okay? I get a kick out of him. Regular guy. I enjoy regular people, all right? No phonies. There's nothing phony about him. Nothing phony about Keith Shannon. They're good people. And that's it. Next time you'll see this, I may put a couple of pictures of it on a fire hardening jig, and then sinew backing it, okay? Today's July 26th, and I wanted to unwrap this 58-inch sinew back bow to make sure that it didn't need any additional sinew strips on it, and it did. The edges were pushed in, and I soaked some more backstrap sinew pieces in water, and what I did was then I took them out when they were pliable, and I soaked them, put them in a little Dixie cup with some tight bond hide glue, and let it soak up, and I laid it down and I covered the spots, and then I took a little of that hide glue and just wiped it on the top, and it sets. But you could look right here, and there's a little bit of the blue wrap and a little pink wrap. I'll have to try and get it out. Now that I repaired this, I see that. Try and get it out in the future. But we'll see how this one shoots, see if I like it, and if it works out, I have a couple of short staves. I may make one more because I have enough sinew, and just lay it on like I originally wanted to do without wrapping it. And we'll see how it turns out. Let's see how this one comes out first. I removed those two spots. I actually added a little more sinew, and I let it dry This time I let it dry for a couple of hours, and so I believe this will not stick that much to it, and I wanted to make sure that the sinew didn't lift, so I rewrapped it again. So now it's going to sit for a couple of months and it should be all good. But I learned that when you put this stuff down, I got to let it dry a little longer. Can't have it that sticky, tacky. I want a little less than that so that this wrap don't stick. This is the first day of a 3-day heat wave. So this morning, while it wasn't too bad, you saw me shape and take the back down on that 58-inch hickory, and I have it cooking now. It's still, the coals are still going, and I see on the very end on the right there's a little space. I'm going to put a clamp just to close up that little gap, and the next time you see this bow, it'll be already done fire hardened. There's no sense in me going through the process with you when you see all the fire hardening videos I have. This is the 58-inch hickory bow that I fire hardened this afternoon. Before I fire hardened it, I had floor tillered it, and after I floor tillered it, I had taken the back down. The back is the part that's away from you, and I'm allowing it now to drink up some hide glue. I'm trying to let the wood absorb some hide glue in preparation for sinew backing. We got some elk sinews soaking in the water, getting them nice and soft. I'm going to try and see if I can lay down a couple of bundles instead of, I was doing it almost individually on the last bow. So what I want to make sure that this back of the bow drinks up as much water as much hide glue as it can. Okay, I know when I rawhide back a bow, like a board bow or something, and I use tight bond, I know I let it drink up and keeps drinking up. I let it drink up as much as you can. And I'm doing the same with the hide glue for the sinew backing. I'm letting it drink up. Okay, could obviously add a little water too, thin it down a little bit. Dip my hand in the water. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get, this time around, I'm going to see if I can get some bundles. Okay. Going to get the water out. See, the back sinew is a little thicker, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to lay down the bundles that I really want to lay down. Okay, but we're going to try. I'm going to put it in the hide glue. Okay. Like I say, I'm new to this. Got to wipe off the glue. Put the glue on, wipe the glue off. Okay. I'm trying to get all of it out that I can. Squeegee it out. Okay, I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to try and lay it down on the middle first. Okay, as a matter of fact, let's slide it up a little bit. I'm going to use my hand to flatten it down. Some people use a dowel, I see. They use like a dowel to roll it down. Okay. Trying to get it to conform here to the back side of the bow. I have more elk backstrap coming in case I run out. I can always add more. This hide glue can be remoistened with humidity or some warm water running on the back. It will hydrate and reactivate, as I found out today, or actually the other day. Okay, this is a thick piece. Gonna put that on the side. Gonna overlap it. Put it down. Okay. I'm gonna get some more, wring out the water. I'm gonna get some more hide glue here on this. Like I said, on this back strap sinew from the elk, some of it is very thick, very hard. Okay, it's not like the leg tendons on the deer sinew that's like white and light and fluffy. This is a little more stiffer. So again, I'm getting hide glue on this, and then I'm wringing out the hide glue. Okay, I'm gonna lay it down here. I'm not worried about the sinew overhanging the ends because I'm going to trim it off with a scissor. And once I run out of this, if I run out of this and I don't have enough, I have a bag of some deer tendon sinew that has been processed. Okay, it's a long, steady process. And like I said, I saw some people use like a dowel to roll it. I'm just pushing it down. I'm going to try something different. I'm not going to wrap it. I'm going to wrap sinew around it. This one particular piece of sinew is very hard. I'm going to remove that. Okay, let's see what we got here. I think we're going to have enough. I think we're going to have enough to finish this the way we want to finish it. Okay, here we are. Push this down. Now, if there's a tough piece that's sticking out, like a little wing here, like this here, I could actually just leave it and trim it off. But I want to get some of this softer sinew on here. Okay, it's actually coming out pretty good. Coming out pretty good here. I think we're going to have more than I thought I would. Okay, here we go. Glue on, glue off. Putting some down the middle so we could kind of flush out the sides. Push down and get the sides. I think what I'm going to do is once this dries and is cured, I may take off the ends and put a little horn tips on there. Yeah, that seemed to work out, that I'm pushing in the middle there now and pushing it to the ends. Let's get some nice pieces lined up here. Little glue. Okay. Coming out pretty good. And that works good as I'm laying down some in the middle and I'm pushing it down. It's pushing the pieces to the side. Fill in the gaps. Laying in the middle and flushing it to the side. Coming out very nice. I'm just going to let the camera run. You could fast forward through this part till when I make the wraps. I put some Sinew wraps around. Instead of wrapping it with ace bandage, or I'm just going to wrap it around. Some Sinew around the ends, the middle, and that could actually be sanded off with no problem. Okay, so let's see what we got here. A couple more down here. There we go. That's what I need. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Now it's just a matter of, I want to make sure that this is flush. I'd rather it hang over the sides and be more than not enough. Now the Indians didn't have, they didn't heat up pots and have ace bandages to wrap it up. Native Americans, primitive man, but they were able to use this sinew to wrap things, wrap points on arrows, feathers, points on spears. And I guess they learned while this was drying, sometimes it wants to lift up. Okay, so what we're going to do is here, see I got a piece of sinew here, a little hide glue. Look, I'm wiping it off good. And right around here, I'm going to wrap it. And like I said, this can be sanded off too when it's dry. But I'm keeping it from, I want to keep it from lifting. Okay, so I wrapped it there at the fade out. I'm going to wrap it at the other fade out. And like I said, this could all be sanded off, but it's going to keep it from lifting, and I'm not going to wrap it. Okay. I'm going to put some on the ends and the midsection too. I'm going to put a wrap on the tips and the midsection. As a matter of fact, I think I need a little more on the end here. A little more sinew on the end. So we're going to get this here wet with the glue. Okay. And I'm going to lay this down here and let it overhang a little bit. And I'm going to rub my finger like if I had a dowel and I was running a dowel over it. Okay. Here we go. Here we go with a tie. We're going to tie this end here. Okay, right on the tip. And like I said, the very tip I may add buffalo horn to, and it'll be sanded and tapered when it's dry. But for now, I'm going to wrap it nice. Okay, that's wrapped. Okay. Get another piece. I'm going to wrap the other end. There we go. This will do. I'm going to get a softer piece now and wrap the middle. Okay. Now when I wrap the middle here, I want to make sure that I pull the thread all the way through like that and then come around so I'm not dragging any sinew off. And here we go. Okay, I'm going to put one in the middle on the other side now. Not that it matters. Just get an idea where I'm putting it. Like I said, this all could be sanded off when it's dry. Here we go. Okay. I'm going to stop right here. What I'm going to do is wash my hands, get a scissor. I'm going to trim the sinew off the very end of the tips and let this set up a little bit. I have the sinew laid out, push down with my fingers. I have it wrapped on the fade outs. I have it wrapped on the midpoint. I have it wrapped on the end with more sinew, just to keep it from lifting. And you got to fight the urge to try and get something like these little layers perfect. Just make sure it covers all the wood, and you got to trust it to let it dry, and you'll be able to, what I believe is I'll be able to, once it's dry, you know, sand it and it'll look good. But now I have a visual that I could actually see where there's wood, there's no wood. You know, I can make sure that it's all pushed down flat and it's covering everything that I want it to cover. And again, I got to tell myself, don't play with it. It's good. I'm going to take the camera off and show you what it looks like over the top. Right now we're at the riser, and I have the fade outs wrapped, and you could look from above. We got it all well covered. The midpoint, I have a wrap of sinew. I have it covered here too. This looks like wood. I want to make sure it's not. Okay, and once again, we got to trust it to dry. Have it wrapped up here on the end. Right, that's not wood. That's actually sinew. You know, don't be fooled. And we could always add more tomorrow. I got more sinew coming. That does look like wood, doesn't it? Okay, you're doing this with me. The midpoint and the end wrap. Okay, we're done. I'm going to let it sit up. I'm not even going to move it inside until, you know, at least an hour or so goes by. Because it's done, I don't have to wrap it with bandages. I'm going to leave it and see how it comes out. It's done for now. We're going to let it dry. Hopefully it don't shrink up and expose any wood. I'll check it out during the night just to make sure it's all good. But the one thing I learned, and I believe I'm right, you know, and I have hardly any experience with this, is don't keep fussing with it. You lay it down. If it looks okay, leave it. Because if if you move it, you're going to have fibers sticking up. You're going to try and correct it. It's going to make more of a mess. Just leave it alone. Let it dry. Remember, this stuff is sandable, and you could also add more sinew to it if need be. Now I have more elk backstrap sinew coming. It'll be here in a couple of days because I don't have any more left and I could add more at that time. But it looks good. So that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Hopefully it works out. Before I posted this video, I wanted to give it a 10-hour update. Everything looks good. There was a little section that I believe it was here. I just saw a little bit of wood edge, which could have been sanded off too, but I pushed it down a little bit, and I just took a couple of drops of high glue and just gave it one last coat over a couple of spots, and I think it came out really awesome. And we'll see what happens in a few months. Update in a few months. We're going to tiller them, shape them, and shoot them in a couple of months. Okay, so remember, every day you wake up is a good day. Try to do something. Go out, shoot, make a bow, experiment, right? Try to make a sinew back bow.